For the third time in 3 weeks, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have come from behind in the final minute of regulation to steal a victory from their opponent. 29-27, the Buccaneers survive another nail-biter. We're going to break it down and take your calls today on the postgame.
I want to hear cannons. Downfield, pull up, ball to the 5, touchdown Tampa Bay. Mike Evans does it again. Fire the cannons, Bucs.
It's first and goal. That's picked off. That's picked off. And who else? Rondé Barber. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers may ride to the Super Bowl with that one.
Third down, 18. Dropping Gannon, looking Gannon. Those up with the head. It's 40. Derek Brooks 30. Brooks to the 25, 20. Derek Brooks all the way. There it is. The dagger's in. We're going to win the Super Bowl. And then the cannons go. Fire them. Keep on firing them. Keep on firing them.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers improved to 3-0 for the sixth time in franchise history and the first time in 2 decades. They haven't done it since the 2005 season. The Bucs take down the Jets today, and they do it in interesting fashion. It was an up and down game, but the vibes are certainly high as the Buccaneers also secure their first ever victory in those 76 creamsicle uniforms. It was a celebration of sorts in Raymond James Stadium today for the home opener of the 50th Buccaneers season. A lot of legends out there, and they saw one hell of a game today, Evan.
He certainly did, and it was, it's funny because at first, it seemed like it wasn't really going to be that eventful, right? It was just going to be sort of something to where we talk about, before the show and stuff about setting up for this show, right? And sort of getting into the groove and everything and stuff like that. And we were joking about the last 2 weeks, that hadn't really been able to do that. And this week, finally thought, okay, at least, maybe there's not going to be a complete blowout where it's over with 5 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter, but at least you're going to be like, all right, well, this isn't going to come down to literally the final freaking play of the game. And the Bucs had other plans, or I should say the Bucs special teams had other plans. We'll get into it all. Obviously positives. They won the football game, right? There's a lot of positives come from it. There's some negatives. There's some questions as well. So curious to get into it all. There's a lot to unpack here.
The hotline's open as well. We'd love to hear your take on the game. 305-224-1968. The meeting ID on your screen. 747-973-0150. Give us a shout. So really, I think the big headlines from today, aside from that fourth quarter comeback from the Jets, is the defense stepping up and making plays. One of the things that we have talked about so far this season are guys getting their hands on the football and coming away with takeaways for this Buccaneers defense. And we saw that. We saw quite a bit of it today. Antoine Winfield came up huge with a third down strip sack. And then Jamel Dean with the pick six. I mean, it seemed like on top of that, the pass rush was dynamic. You had players in the secondary getting pressure on the quarterback. Tyrod Taylor was getting hit by guys like Jacob Parrish. Benjamin Morrison had a nice tackle for a loss today. I thought, again, Antoine Winfield Jr. showed up as a tackling machine and run support. A lot of guys in the secondary, but a lot of other guys on the defense, I think, are some of the biggest playmakers of the day. Before we dive into the offense as well.
For sure. And I mean, look, not only are you taking the ball away, you're putting points on the board with that. It's one thing to take the ball away. It's another to take it away and score, right? So that's an added bonus there. I guess Jamel Dean isn't the worst player alive. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. There was somebody a couple weeks ago commented that Dean's never made a big play in his life. And, well, I don't know. I watch the games too, but so yeah, I mean, and look, honestly, I don't know. He should have had 2 picks. I didn't think that was egregious pass interference. I didn't think that was pass interference. I thought it was Tyler Johnson more so just fell down.
I mean, we had well over 200 penalty yards today between both teams, so there's probably a few calls that we could contend for the next hour and a half.
Honestly, I think most of them, but yeah, for both teams, they were both on both sides. I was like, this is not a penalty, but yeah, and then the refs were also they were throwing flags and then picking them up. I was like, they just like to see yellow on the field. But But yeah, I mean, look, it's good to see the defense make those splash plays, right? The four-man pass rush wasn't like incredible, but when Todd Bowles blitzes are hitting, man, it's tough to beat.
Yeah.
It really is tough to beat. And for 3 quarters, they pretty much were. And then I understand, the Bucs go away from that a little bit. And then they try and do it sparingly, not as much in the fourth quarter. But yeah, I mean, really positive sign from the defense here, despite, the Jets. And look, I think when you read the box score, maybe you get a little concerned, right? Maybe. But I do think if you watch the game, I think you come away from this feeling a bit better about the defense. Now, the Jets offense isn't the greatest unit in the world, right? And you're playing Tyrod Taylor, backup quarterback, but there still is positive signs there that they're making those splash plays.
Yeah, Antoine Winfield Jr., again, one of the big splash plays today for the Buccaneers defense. He forces the fumble on a strip sack of Tyrod Taylor. Here's a stat for you. Since 2020, Antoine Winfield Jr. is tied for first among defensive backs with 12 forced fumbles. His 18 sacks lead all defensive backs across the NFL. Wow, we have got one hell of a quote here from Greg Allman. Before we talk about Antoine Winfield Jr. and his performance, I wanted to touch on his return to form, but I really want to find a soundbite of this before the show is over. Todd Bowles asked about the officiating today, specifically about about an execution.
Trying not to get
teams.
demonetized, though. So.
Yeah, he says, this is from the head ball coach. So, I mean, this is journalism at its finest. Quote, excuse my language, but you've got to be fucking shitting me, Todd Bowles.
And there goes the demonetization.
Asked for his thoughts as the Jets ran back a blocked field goal for a touchdown late. That is a special teams play that we will no doubt get into. I had to instantly react to that because you don't really see Todd Bowles with an outburst like that too often. I think maybe now that we are 3-0, he's a little bit more comfortable letting it rip here in front of the media. But let's talk about Antoine Winfield Jr. here over the first 3 games. I feel like he is truly returning to form and looking like the guy the Bucs paid just a couple of years ago. Another good day for him.
I mean, look, when in the offseason, right, when the Bucs don't make a ton of additions maybe or anything like that, right? I think one of the biggest additions that nobody, was a healthy Antoine Winfield Jr. Like he was not healthy last year. He got hurt in week 1 and he came back. It wasn't like it was a season-ending injury, but it wasn't the same, right? It wasn't him. And there's a lot of people worried, oh, well, he got paid and now he's not going to play well. Like, no, this is a really special talent, right? And he was too good to just be like last year's version for the rest of his career. He was just simply too good. And now you're starting to see those shades of 2023, essentially, which, is the best year of his career by far. Played like arguably, the best safety in the entire NFL that year. And right now, he continues to make, those splash plays. And the Bucs, I'm sure, are very grateful for a healthy Antoine Winfield Jr. because it is a game changer on defense. It really, and you're starting to see that, through only 3 weeks, you're really starting to see that.
Yeah, and again, some of the other guys that popped out on defense today, getting after the quarterback, Yaya Diaby was able to wrap up Tyrod Taylor for a sack. Levante David had a sack. Jacob Parrish had a sack. Again, we mentioned the Antoine Winfield strip sack. That dynamic pass rush that I think Todd Bowles really got some good use out of today for the Buccaneers was front and center in those throwback uniforms. On the offensive side of the ball, really, I think just overall this can be categorized as another gutsy performance for the Bucs. But I think the ugly part of it is like this only feels like a gutsy performance because of self-inflicted mistakes. I think that we had double-digit calls against Tampa Bay just in the first half of this game. As I mentioned before, well over 200 penalty yards for both of these teams combined. I don't think we've seen a Bucs game this sloppy since that infamous Raiders game. What was it, 2015, I think, where it was
2016.
Yeah, it was right around there. It was just ugly at times today. And I mean, you're doing what you can. You had 2 new guards today in Haggard and Elijah Klein getting their start for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think Elijah Klein, they said, had 9 career snaps before today's game. So I understand that you can only do so much with what you have, but unfortunately, those guys and some of the other guys on the offensive line playing out of position already played a huge part in what was penalty-wise a very frustrating day for the Bucs.
Yeah, and look, I mean, I don't agree with every call, but there were clearly some calls that were like, yeah, it's a penalty. Like, and I think you're seeing that um, in the inexperience, right, of an Elijah Klein, of a Luke Haggard, and just simply not as talented. A guy like a Charlie Heck or Graham Barton got called for a hold. He's playing out of position, right? He's playing left tackle. Ben Bredesen, I think, got called for a hold or a false start. He's playing out of position. So yeah, I mean it's kind of tough sledding there, right? And um, right now we got some encouraging news late last night by Adam Schefter, but that's something we're gonna have to wait and see about. Potentially Tristan Wirfs making his way back, which would allow three problems on the Bucs offensive line to sort of go back to normal, right? To allow Wirfs to be at left tackle. Bredesen goes from center to left guard, and Barton goes from left tackle to center. So your entire left side there, which is Baker Mayfield's blind side, it would be much more improved. So hopefully that's the case. But look, Cody Mauch ain't coming back, right? Luke Gedeke ain't going to be coming back for a couple weeks here. He's on IR, going to be out at least 3 more games. So you're gonna have to deal with this, right? And you're gonna have to roll with the punches sometimes. And unfortunately, that's gonna mean some penalties, perhaps. But it also is unfortunate when you have a referee crew that really likes to throw flags, and they were doing it early and often in this one, and that's not a great combo. So hopefully, the Bucs are able to get it cleaned up. Hopefully, just something like more experience. You can clean those things up technique wise, but yeah, I mean, if you want to win, like if you want to beat Philly next week, you can't have that because you're not going to win with that many penalties. You're just not. The Jets aren't a good team, and you're able to overcome that against bad teams, but against these good teams, you're not going to be able to win.
Yeah, absolutely. When you have a team like the Eagles, who had a really gutsy win today against LA, I mean, they won it in the last few moments of that game. That's a tough team. That's a championship caliber team. We know well it's going to be said all year long. They are the defending Super Bowl champions right now, so everybody's kind of gunning for them. And do I think the Bucs have what it takes to take down Philly? Absolutely, I do. But not if they are a penalty machine like they were at sometimes during the game
today they had 14 penalties for 124 yards. That's not gonna cut it. You're not gonna beat most teams, right? Like, yeah, they escaped with a win here, but like, on most Sundays, that's not gonna be good. The Jets had 7 penalties for 81 yards, so yeah, that's something you got to clean up. And most of them, I would say, on the Bucs were on the offensive side of the ball, specifically on that offensive line.
The Bucs as an offense today did muster 29 points and close to 350 total yards on the day, but I really want to kind of talk about fair point. I want to talk about their shortcoming and really where they had a chance to put this game away in the second half, in the fourth quarter, and just kind of fell flat. I think that there were times today where they looked a lot more consistent. There was a big-time scoring drive where they had converted 2 third long conversions. I think they were 3 for 3 on third down conversions on a big-time drive earlier in the game. Like, there were other moments where it seemed like they did a lot better job controlling the clock, controlling the pace of the game. I know that they have done pretty well in the time of possession battle so far this year, but today, like, they were in control at times, and then in the fourth quarter, when you were up big time, and it felt like one more defensive stop and even a field goal. I mean, granted, you don't have that Chase McLaughlin kick blocked. You go up 2 possessions at that point late in the game. So, like, that out of the question. It certainly felt like they fell a little flat at times in this game, and that contributed to the Jets coming back big here.
Yeah, really quick, $2 super chat from Kyle Driver.
Thanks, Kyle.
Team is doing great with a skeleton crew, I believe. Yeah, I mean, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And look, we don't know for sure yet, but I would assume they're not going to have Mike Evans next week. So, like, you may be looking at even more of a skeleton crew, because I imagine Mike Evans is probably not going to be playing next week. He was ruled out pretty quickly, so that's usually not a great sign. I don't think it's like a season ender or anything, but I would be surprised if he's ready to go in a week. But yeah, I mean, look, I understand. I understand why defenses, why coaches, why they do what that in the fourth quarter. But also, I'm gonna give some credit to the Jets. I felt that the Bucs didn't blitz as much in the fourth quarter, but when the Bucs did, the Jets did a much better job of picking it up. And Tyrod Taylor was able to find open guys then once they did pick it up. Because I mean, look, when you're blitzing, there's gonna be somebody open, most likely. So you're hoping that blitz gets home. So give some credit to the Jets, but I also thought some of the coverage was too soft and just letting the Jets go down there with ease. And I understand it the first time, right? Like, okay, then they make it 23-13, okay, whatever. But then when it happens a second time in a row, like, all right, let's play some defense here.
Well, an overall credit to Tyrod Taylor. I mean, stepping up in a tough position. We know that he was a veteran, and I think largely we knew what to expect out of his performance, but he was able to make a couple of plays with his legs today, largely some of those late scoring surges in the fourth quarter. He's extending drives with his legs. He was the leading rusher for New York today. 8 carries, 48 yards for Tyrod Taylor, 26-36, 197, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception through the air. But let's talk about this Buccaneers offense here and highlight some of the individuals who stood out. Baker Mayfield, the quarterback, 19 for 29, 233 through the air, 1 touchdown, no picks. Ran the ball. And again, just like Tyrod Taylor, something that Baker Mayfield has done a lot more of this season. And truthfully, I would argue one of the biggest reasons the Buccaneers are 3-0 right now is because of Baker Mayfield making plays with his legs, extending drives with his ability to either get out of the pocket or just pick up that extra yardage. 4 carries for 44 yards today for the quarterback, and there's just multiple plays that you can look at where he's able to make the improbable possible. And it extends plays, it extends drives, and it ultimately leads to more points on the board for Tampa Bay. I think he was, again, 19 for 29 isn't going to impress anybody, but when you consider the offensive line in front of him, everything this Buccaneers offense has been up against, I think Baker Mayfield is just continuing to be that guy.
Well, and then you also had, I mean, yeah, sure, they played most of the game with Mike Evans, but Mike Evans goes down then, right? So Mike Evans also isn't in the game for a period of time. So, yeah, I mean, he just, great way of battling. And I mean, that's what you expect, right? Every week, pretty much. Like, sure, maybe they won't win every time, but he's gonna battle at least, right? He's gonna give it everything he's got. So, uh, and also, like, yeah, you mentioned that, right? With 19 of 29. Um, at one point, I don't know if it was in the fourth quarter or late third quarter, he had, I think, 4 incompletions, and 2 of them were Mike Evans just drops, like ones that
Yeah.
hit Mike Evans' hands, and like Mike needs to catch those, And then Abuga had a drop where he should have caught it, and then there's another one, on that one where I'm pretty sure it's a catch, but whatever. And like Bowles calls a timeout to get them to look at it, and they just refuse to look at it. It's a catch. He gets possession, the right foot taps, the left foot drags. It's a catch. So you have that one too. That's 4. That's 4 that probably should have been completed. That ended up not being completed. So yeah, I think when you look at it, like you said, it's not like people aren't going to be like, wow, and look at the box score and be like, man, he was on fire today. But I think when you look at it, he played well, and given the circumstances, also, using his legs, heading a 33-yard run, if he doesn't get tackled there, he houses that ball.
Yep.
I mean, that's gone. So, and that would have obviously put the exclamation point. You wouldn't have had the block kick or nothing like that. But yeah, I mean, and then to come back right then, right when the block kick, you have the lead the entire game pretty much. You're in control. The block kick happens. All of a sudden, you're in a 2-minute drill now, needing a score to win the game. And yeah, he's just so mentally tough that he leads them right down and hits Abuka. Abuka makes a nice catch, and and then like I said, they really quick, but because it's on my mind now and I want to get it out. I did not agree at all, like at all, with the Buccaneers' approach to the final minute. Uh, so I believe Shepard, they hit the Shepard screen. Shepard goes down to where they kick it from, and there's like a minute 30, and they let the clock run until like 10 seconds. Mayfield takes a knee, and then they call a timeout with 3 seconds. I hated that. Because to me, when you have an opportunity, when you have that much time on the clock, I understand a turnover, this and those things can happen. But when you have a chance after you just got your kick blocked, like 2 minutes ago, like, and you have an opportunity to get just a little bit closer, Like, I just feel you have to take it. So I really did not like their approach at all there. Basically burning a minute 25 seconds for no reason. Like, they didn't gain any yards. They just really were banking on Chase McLaughlin making that field goal from right there, like 36 yards. That was it. They weren't getting any closer, which also shout out to Chase McLaughlin.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, you can't really
two 50-yarders.
you can't really blame them for being in that position and saying, all right, let's just go ahead and trust our kicker. We can let this clock go down, and we still have control of the game here. 5 for 6. His long today, 55, made 2 50-plus yarders, as you said. So, I mean, a bounce-back game for Money Mac. But I don't know. I'm very curious to see what some of the callers have to say. We got our first one on the air now from the 626. Who is this?
What's up, guys? It's Richard T from the West Coast.
There it is, 3-0.
Fucking 3-0, guys. When was the last time we saw this? 3-0. 2005? Something like that?
Yeah, not on this show.
Cadillac Williams was Offensive Rookie of the Year that year.
So.
Okay, so let's get the good stuff out of the way. Great, or I'm not even gonna say great win. It's a win. Broke the creamsicle curse, might I say? Kind of,
yeah.
Kind of. Chase, he's back. Winfield, back. But what the hell was Todd Bowles doing in the fourth fucking quarter? What the hell, guys? Fourth quarter, we were up 2 scores. More than 2 scores. That was frustrating to watch. Your defensive coach, man, do better. Can we get a victory formation this year at all?
I thought we were close today, Richard. I really did. I thought today was the closest we had come to exactly what we had been asking for. You start the fourth quarter, and correct me if I'm wrong, the score was, what, 23-6?
I believe, yeah, 23-6.
Yeah. In a 21-point rally from New York just turns it into another classic finish we've come to know and love here from the 2025 season. I mean, listen, if a couple of cardiac finishes are the price that we have to pay for 3-0, I got to talk to my doctor before we continue. Truthfully, I think I need to check in and see just how much more I can take. My Apple Watch is letting me know every single week that my heart rate is up in the final few minutes of these games, and I need to just drink some water and sit down.
Half of these Bucs fans, we're not going to live to the end of the season if we're going to be winning games like this.
Richard T.
Hey, look.
Yeah, go ahead, buddy.
It's Egbuka. He's looking great. Wish he scored. I'm sad we lost Mike again there, Hamid. We really gutted this one out. Really gutted this one out. I'm not very optimistic with Philly coming in. But you know what? Let's just enjoy this for now. Creamsicles, now we're done with this week. We could now focus, get a full 7 days of preparation and enjoying this win and prepping for the Eagles. And next Sunday, let's go eagle hunting, man. Let's go. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Richard T., we appreciate your calls, buddy. As always, we'll talk to you soon. Go Bucs.
Go Bucs. What?
First 3-0 start in 20 years. I want to talk a little bit more about this offense here, Evan. In some of the individuals that stepped up. We already talked about Baker Mayfield, but some of these pass catchers today. Your leading receiver for the Buccaneers. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Emeka Egbuka, 6 catches, 85 yards, doesn't find the end zone, but he did have a few, out of character drops, if you will. I think that was something.
When you have a one-hander like you did, though, it kind of makes up.
Yeah, I mean, that might be one of the most impressive plays I've seen any receiver make in a Buccaneers uniform. Aside from, Mike Evans on, Thursday Night Football against Atlanta. Like, that's the kind of stuff that you only see maybe once a decade, and that was the kind of catch for Egbuka today. I thought it was a big-time performance. Again, he continues to settle in, and now with the Mike Evans injury, he may be a name that surprise, surprise, people are going to hear more of.
Everybody's like, well, why did they draft the wide receiver 3? I was like, no, he's wide receiver 1. What do you mean?
I mean, don't look now. One of the big storylines to monitor this upcoming week, obviously, is going to be the return of both Tristan Wirfs and Chris Godwin. Now, Tristan Wirfs, I think, is on track to come back a little bit sooner. But for anyone unaware, there was a report floated out by Adam Schefter late last night. It said, even though Bucs wide receiver Chris Godwin with an ankle and Tristan Wirfs with a knee both were ruled out for Sunday's game against the Jets, both have a, quote, strong chance to make their debuts next Sunday at home versus the Eagles. Godwin and Wirfs are expected to start practice reps this week with the starters, and if all goes well and there are no setbacks, they are expected to play next Sunday. $2 super chat here from Laura of Lucas. He says, really getting tired of the officiating. Let's give him a round of applause, not only for the super chat, but Lucas, you're not the only person, I think, who is ready to follow those referees home after the game. I think that half of the stadium had some choice words for them at some point or another today.
Like I said, it was on both sides. I mean, it wasn't like the Bucs or the Jets, or it was both. I mean, there was times, the referees are just. They're just brutal, and TC said, how did so many teams pass on Ibuka? I mean, he was the second wide receiver taken. I think Ted McMillan was the first. I don't think there was another receiver taken right after Ibuka or right after McMillan. So
because Golden went after, correct? Bucs took Ibuka over Golden.
Yep. Yes, Golden went like 23rd or something like that. So, but I mean, look, there's a couple teams that might be kicking themselves right now, but it's the Buccaneers' benefit. But also, talk about pass catchers. Shout out to Sterling Shepard, 4 catches, 80 yards, and now
he's been huge this season.
Assuming that Mike Evans is not going to play next week, and look, if Chris Godwin plays, he's not playing freaking 40 snaps. Like, he's not going to be playing. He hasn't played football in almost a year. Like, do not expect Chris Godwin to be out there 90% of the time. He's going to be on a snap count probably. Which coincidentally, there was conflicting reports last night. Ian Rappaport said that Emeka Egbuka was full good to go.
Yeah.
And then this morning, Schefter said Egbuka would be on a snap count. The snap counts aren't out yet, but it felt like he played a good bit. But Sterling Shepard now becomes even more important for this team. So if he can give you that production, obviously maybe not weekly, but every now and then, you definitely take that from Sterling Shepard. So shout out to him.
We got another caller here from the 813. Appreciate you hanging on for us. Who is this?
Oh, absolutely. It's your boy BK, man.
What's up, BK?
Give you guys a call all the way from Asheville, North Carolina this time. But, all right. No more can we say a win is a win. All right. I have high expectations for this team. Obviously, injuries are modifying those. We got to get healthy. The only silver lining in these injuries is that they're coming at the beginning of the year. And I do believe that we'll be able to hit a stride towards the end. We are winning the games that we're supposed to win still. But I have a question that I kind of want to bring up, and it's centered around more so, the offensive kind of play calling. Where are the tight ends in this system? I haven't seen or heard much from K-Dot. I mean, he got some last minute some last minute balls thrown his way last game, I believe, on that final couple drives. But there really hasn't been much of the tight end play. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because when we found ourselves in a similar situation last year, no Mike Evans, no Chris Godwin, we really did lean on that. And I thought that because of the type of production that we got in those games against formidable teams that we're about to go into that stretch again now, that having a weapon like that, I thought it would become more of a staple in the offense. And then sure enough, as soon as the wide receivers came back, obviously there's one ball, but as soon as wide receivers came back, those passes and those looks at Otten kind of got away. And I'm not as nervous about, Mike being out for a couple of weeks. I don't want to rush him like we did last year. Take your time. It's still early in the season. But I do want to – we still have pieces that we haven't really implemented yet. And I would like to kind of figure out what is there a role in this offense for the tight ends? Just what you guys thought thought on that. Everything else you guys are hitting on. And the last thing I will say is, I was on, hey, bring the kicker in. I didn't want him to lose his job, but bring the kicker in. That was my speech last week, this week. So this week, I definitely want to say it's the return of the Mech. and maybe this was the win that he needed. Not necessarily the win that we wanted, but maybe this is the win that he needed to get that confidence back. And hopefully we don't have to, revisit any type of kicking problems. But the special teams is killing me this year. And I'll sit back and listen to what you guys say.
BK, great call.
Appreciate
man.
it.
Yeah, we appreciate you as always. Evan, I'm going to toss this to you, but my initial reaction just on the tight ends, they're blocking. Man, they're blocking. I feel like the Bucs
today specifically. Yes.
Yeah, I feel like they have no choice but to send these guys out there, and it also seems like Josh Grizzard has been cooking a lot out of 12 and 13 man personnel the last couple of weeks. You need those extra bodies out there, whether it is pass protection or trying to open up some of these gaps and these lanes for Bucky Irving to try and run through in this run game. They've been blocking, and I think that arguably when we look at the success of the run game, the Buccaneers had another week this week where they had over 100 yards on the ground. I know Baker Mayfield had 44 of those, so he makes up a huge chunk of that. But I am curious that, if and when the Buccaneers offensive line gets healthier, you get Tristan Wirfs in there, you hopefully get Luke Gedeke there, maybe on the other side of the bye week now that we've reached this point in the season, and he's going to be missing some time. But when you inevitably get these guys in here, Evan, do you expect these tight ends to show up sooner rather than later? Because right now they are just blocking out of necessity, it seems like.
Yeah, look, the offensive line just isn't good enough. They're not good enough to be left on an island consistently, especially like last week, right? You're playing Houston, you're playing Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. Like, the offensive line in the shape it's in is just simply not good enough to be like left, on obvious passing downs, especially on islands like that. And today, even more so, right? Without Malk, without Gedeke at all. That's where they're at. If you want to look at where Kate Otten is, he's probably around the line of scrimmage. So, and he's not blocking the entire time. But what's happening is, he'll chip a guy or he'll block a little bit, then go out for a pass. But by the time he's going out for that route, it's like a little check down. But by the time he's going out for that route, either the ball's out or something's already happened, right? So
Baker's 20 yards downfield.
Yeah, it's already done. So Kate Otten, he turns his head and there's no quarterback there. He's like, I don't know where he went.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much, they Keefe's in there a lot today, I noticed. I didn't notice Payne Durham really at all. Keefe was in there a good bit. Why is Keefe in there? Blocking. We have a $2 super chat from Chris Sturba. Thank you, Chris. $2. Bucs win, so you win. Wendy's for the CFP crew. That's right, man. We're gonna be loading up with some Wendy's.
That's one of those things. Honestly, I think that's a tell for how long you've been around. The Wendy's Fund.
Yes.
How many people know about the Wendy's Fund? Thank you, Chris, for the super chat. We greatly appreciate you, my friend. We got another caller. Appreciate you holding on for us from the 813. How you feeling at 3-0? Who's this? Hello, going once, going twice. 3-0.
If you're on mute, no.
Yeah, I'm also speechless. Truthfully, I think
call back. Call back if you need to.
Yeah, call back if you need to. Would love to hear from you. Don't forget, lines are open at 305-224-1968. The meeting ID on your screen, 747-973-0150. These first three games, Evan, quite literally have left me speechless. I think that there's plenty of exciting moments throughout, but the dramatic finish that we have seen from the Bucs here 3 weeks in a row, you can call it a gutsy win. You can say a win is a win in the NFL. I'm going to be honest with you. Hearing from some of the callers, looking at the live chat, hearing initial impressions, I know that there was a lot to not like about the Bucs win today. I know that there was a lot that needs to be cleaned up, especially when we talk about making these inflicted mistakes against better teams, right? I think that one could argue if the Bucs were fully healthy today, they would have won this game by 2 or 3 possessions. But if this Bucs team played a fully healthy Eagles team, it could have been over very early. I think it's going to be interesting to monitor, but I feel like I'm not as upset about it. Like, we're 3-0, man. We're finding ways to win. And I know that in the past, this feels like a game it felt like the Bucs would find a way to lose, and they were certainly well on their way in the fourth quarter. But they gutted out, man. 3-0 is 3-0 for the first time in 20 years. We got another caller here from the 770. Who's this?
Hey, it's Corey from Nashville.
Corey, how you doing, man?
Guys. Man, it's all good, man. What a win. What a win. Listen, man. Certain things have to be checked off for teams to have a long season, right? You got to have talent, injuries, injury luck, and you got to be unfathomable, meaning flappable. You got to have a mental fortitude that you can win every game. Whether you're down, that you can score when you need points, you can do. And outside of the injury luck, which honestly we are going to have some injury luck coming back, or some fortuitous luck coming back our way, God be willing, with Tristan and Godwin and Gedeke in a couple weeks, and we can kind of get a little rhythm. I hate that Mike went down today. Hopefully it's more of a 2-week thing, a week-to-week thing instead of IR thing. But anyway, I digress. And in the NFL, you got to have a quarterback. Fellas, we got a quarterback, man.
Oh, yeah.
After we got Brady, I was nervous because we drafted Kyle Trask, and I was like, well, maybe Kyle Trask can learn something. I don't know what we're going to look like after Brady. Baker Mayfield is a godsend, and he fits what we want in Tampa. It's a city where people do care about the Bucs while we're winning, but it's a city that's busy. It's a city of hardworking people. I spent a lot of time in Tampa, and Baker just has that. When Will McDonald was returning that field goal, they showed a camera. They panned to Baker on the broadcast, and he looked unfazed. He's like, oh, well, I guess I got to go win the game. And you know he was unfazed because the very first play he was like, to hell with it, I'm going to win this game. We missed Ted Johnson, but I love the play call. And he threw that ball with all conviction. Emeka Egbuka is so good. And I am truly convinced if we don't draft him, he's another team's number one receiver right now. I think it was either the Packers or the Chargers or the Broncos were going to get him. He will be their number one receiver right now, and teams will be game planning for him. But Mike Evans dictates so much coverage. This kid, he is such a good route runner, and his hands are so – that was a catch on the sideline. We are football fans. We watch the NFL and college football review the dumbest plays, stuff that you'd be like, oh, yeah, okay, fine. That was clearly a catch that he had on the sideline, and they didn't even take it to review. I was like, come on, guys. But the mental fortitude of this team is what I'm sorry, I'm a little long-winded here. But the mental fortitude of this team is what is carrying this team right now. And everybody's a pro. You saw it today. The Jets are a professional football team, professional coaches. They didn't quit. They kept playing, and they executed some plays down the stretch. And kudos to them. Will McDonald made a play that you'll probably see. We will probably never see that particular sequence of a field goal block for the rest of the NFL season. So we saw it today. Kudos to them. But what separates teams outside of talent, because they're all talented, is the mental fortitude to believe that you can play at your apex when the chips are down. Baker Mayfield had me at right tackle. Baker Mayfield had me at center and left guard today. Come on. Those guys, come on, man. Are you kidding me? And he didn't have one turnover-worthy play. I think he had a fumble where he tried to flip it back.
Yeah.
Which actually, if you go back and look at that play, he was flipping it back to Rashad, and it's just a good time on the defensive lineman to hit him before he could flip it back. So I guess you can count that as a turnover-worthy play. But for him to play with poise, he's not 6'5", and he's not what's his name? Herbert. Herbert's 6'5", athletic, can see over the line. Baker looks, and I was talking to the Samurai Ali from the Loose Cannons podcast in the offseason. I told him there's one more check mark that I need to see Baker check, and it's his overall in-game maturity. Like, can he be a quarterback that breaks down coverages? Can he be a quarterback that's poised? He didn't check all those boxes for me. Guys, we have a quarterback. And if you have a quarterback on Sundays, you're going to be in the games. That's my call, man. Thanks, guys.
Corey, great call, man. Great hearing from you. Go Bucs. Just like Corey said, that's exactly the stuff that I'm talking about as to why I think, I feel good about the win today. I know that there is, again, a lot of discussion to be had, a lot of discussion throughout the week about what the Bucs can fix moving forward against better competition. But a gutsy win is a win, and they were in a situation where, once again, they got to come from behind here in the final few minutes, and Baker looks unfazed. Just rips off a 33-yard run and sets you up in some pretty good field position. But I think another thing as well is like Baker Mayfield is one of those guys that I'm taking him over a lot of guys in the NFL. Like, I'm taking him over Jared Goff. I'm taking him over Jalen Hurts. Yeah. He has it, man. I know that there's always going to be this conversation about the big four up top, the Josh Allen, Lamar, Pat Mahomes. I don't care about that. Baker Mayfield is a perfect fit for Tampa. And he's just I've never watched a player who it seems like the game means more to them. You know what I mean? This is just a random week 3 game, and game's on the line. He rips off a 33-yard run.
Well, we got a $9.99 super chat from Amazement717. Thank you, Amazement. Says, again, wasn't worried final drive, but really shouldn't have come down to that. New name for the Rook, Emeka the Game Wrecker. I have full trust in Bake Show, most clutch QB in the NFL now, question mark. I mean, he's definitely up there, right? I mean, he is definitely up there. I mean, he's, when you're talking about clutch guys, you know, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, like what are the guys you would want with the ball down 4 and 2 minutes to go, right? Like those, you know, he's definitely in that conversation now. So, and this season, yeah, you could make the case made so far this season that definitely. Well, I mean, the third straight, you know, comeback win. So
from the 813, who's this?
Hello, my name is Michael Roa. How you guys doing?
Good. How you doing,
my name is Michael. Man, I think we need Tyreek Hill, man, because the Bucs need another wide receiver, bro.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening. I mean, you know, Chris Godwin's gonna be coming back here within, I mean, maybe not next week, but I do think it could be, you know, soon. It's much sooner rather than later. Hopefully Mike Evans isn't out long term. We don't know. And I think the Bucs really like Emeka, Buka, and Sterling Shepard, so I wouldn't really count on a Tyreek Hill move.
Bro, that'd be amazing, bro. What is going on with our offensive linemen?
Well, I mean,
Baker Mayfield is getting sacked so many times.
Football's a physical game, right? And you're. I mean, look, I've seen a lot of people. Oh, the strength and conditioning staff, this and that, it's terrible. A lot of these injuries are happening in game, right? It's not like they're tweaking, you know, minor muscles and stuff like that, or conditioning wise. But you know, right now the Bucs have literally 0 offensive linemen in the spots that they should be. They only have 2 starters. 2 of the 5 projected starters right now on their offensive line, and both are not playing their regular positions. So once Wirfs come back, I do think you're going to see more normalcy, right? I think you'll see the offensive line get a little bit better because Wirfs will be able to slide to left tackle. Barton will be able to go back to center, and Bredesen back to guard. So I think you'll see it better, and I think hopefully, you know, you'll see Baker, you know, get hit a little bit less.
Michael, final thoughts, my friend.
Bro, the Panthers absolutely whipped the Falcons today.
Yeah.
I've never seen a blowout so bad ever.
Yeah.
That was a surprise. That was
Michael, we appreciate you, my friend. We're going to let you go. But, yeah, really quickly, looking around the NFC South, to Michael's point there.
Well, right now the Saints are getting killed, too. So.
Yeah, I mean, back-to-back weeks of just big-time smackdowns here in the NFC South. It looks like the streak of the Buccaneers winning another one, the Saints fall, and the Falcons fall to the Panthers today. Who would have thought, really, going into that one, that it would be as lopsided as it was? It was a burn the tape kind of day for Michael Penix Jr. for sure.
Yeah, I mean, 18 of 36, 172, 2 interceptions. Kirk Cousins played.
Hey.
Yeah, he was 5 for 7, 29 yards. So, I mean, it might have been, you know, probably, I'm guessing towards the end of the game, you don't want Penix getting hurt, you know. But yeah, that's definitely not great. So yeah, the Saints are 0-3. The Falcons and Panthers are both 1-2, and the Buccaneers are 3-0. So all good things right now for the Bucs in terms of that.
Continuing the conversation here, some of the playmakers on offense for the Bucs cannot discount Sterling Shepard. 4 receptions, 80 yards. Just another week of him making clutch conversions and big time catches for Tampa Bay. Mike Evans found the end zone for the first time this season, although he does leave the game due to that hamstring injury. 4 catches and 33 yards. Wanted to talk about Bucky Irving and his role in the pass game for Tampa Bay. 4 catches, 33 yards. It feels like, or at least it felt like after week 1, I wasn't entirely sure how good I felt about Bucky being a consistent feature in the pass game. You know what I mean? Like we kind of talked about the effectiveness of having a Rashad White in that role at times. And I know that it comes with the ebbs and flows of a football game. We did see a good amount of Rashad White. He even got some carries today for the Buccaneers. But I wasn't really sure how much they could lean on Bucky in the pass game, but he showed today that they can certainly do that and then some. I think at times he is the best option to kind of open a drive up for this Buccaneers offense. It seems like if they have found themselves in a bit of a lull or they fall flat for a bit, if they can pop that screen pass to Bucky Irving or he just, finds some room on a swing pass, there was a big 25-plus yard gain today for Bucky Irving, just running sideline to sideline, just on a simple swing pass because of his athletic ability, his ability to make guys miss. I wasn't sure if the Bucs could lean on him, but they certainly have done that and then some over these first 3 weeks. He looks very comfortable being potentially a do-it-all guy. I know that, again, we talked about the run game kind of being at its best when you can complement a Bucky Irving with a Rashad White, but Bucky Irving is certainly more than capable.
Yeah, and pretty good quote here from Baker Mayfield. Their defense, he said, was asked about, because Steve Wilks is the Jets defensive coordinator, and he was talking about, like revenge motivations this week, and Baker said that their defensive coordinator was the one who cut me in Carolina. So, I mean, look, when you got Baker Mayfield with a chip on his shoulder, it's a dangerous game to play. But I think Bucky had the one really good catch and run for like 25 yards. He broke a tackle, reverse field. And look, I thought he ran the ball okay today. But again, it's hard with this offensive line to create consistent running lanes. It really is. They're just simply not talented enough sometimes. And, Quinton Williams, wrecks some plays, and that's to be expected against this type of offensive line. So, I mean, it's tough sledding doing that. But yeah, I mean, I thought it has been worked better than I imagined him, sort of being like, not necessarily the bell cow, but like a guy who, they rely on sometimes in like passing situations. Because I figured, Rashad White, I still like Rashad White in that role a lot. Like if you had me make a choice, excuse me, I would still probably prefer Rashad White in there. But look, I mean, Bucky Irving has not been bad. I mean, certainly has not been bad. He's held his own. Really quick before we wrap up, I did want to send it over to the defense side just for a few more. I mean, because we opened the show with defense, haven't talked about defense in a little bit here. Thought Jacob Parrish played a really good game today. I thought it was his best game as a pro so far. Had a sack, came in on a corner blitz there. Like I said, I just thought he was really good. I thought Hassan Reddick was pretty good. I mean, it didn't get much pressure with 4, which again is an issue. But we sort of talked about that with Ian from Jet Central in the previous show, right? That the Bucs might not be able to get consistent pressure with just 4 guys against this Jets offensive line. So it wasn't necessarily a surprise, but Reddick makes that play on 4th down to stop the Jets there. And then the other thing I will talk about is Levante David.
I was going to bring that up if you didn't.
It's not a good Levante David day. Like, easily his worst game of the season. Honestly, might be one of the worst games I've seen him play in a long time. Like, I'm sure if I thought about it, they're probably worse. But, like, I mean, the first drive alone, he misses 2 sacks on Tyrod Taylor. The one had him literally dead to rights, and somehow Taylor avoids it. I think Pewter Report pointed it out. Tyrod Taylor is older than Levante David. He should not be evading sacks when you have him literally dead on. And then also, you got a pass interference call on that drive as well. Missed a couple more tackles throughout the day. That started to become an issue, And look, I mean, the Bucs have Servante Dennis an up and down day. The Bucs have struggled to find a running partner for Levante David, but like they need Levante David himself to sort of be more like Levante David. So he did end up getting a sack on that one where Taylor sort of stepped up trying to run. Levante David was there for the tackle. So, but yeah, I think a day he's going to want to forget, and he's going to have to be much better next week.
Yeah, and it's a shame because it's something that we have talked about before, and it's something that I hate to bring it up, but we have already said it once this season. It's just, man, it's
the reality. It's
the reality of being 34, 35 years old, still playing in the NFL and still playing at a physical position where you're tasked with shadowing and tracking down and tackling these guys who are just getting younger, more physical, and honestly more impressive as the years go on because
young buck Tyrod Taylor.
Right.
Young gun.
Yeah, Tyrod Taylor aside, I think that we can agree that unfortunately the turn and burn ability and some of the tackling ability on display from Levante David is just not the same as it.
That's the thing that I've noticed so much this year.
Right.
Because like the turn and burn has kind of been the last 2 years or so hasn't been as great. But like you could always count on him being like a pretty short tackler.
And there were too many today where you're like, man, it even felt like watching the game 2-3 years ago he makes that tackle.
Yeah.
2-3 years ago that guy doesn't break that tackle, and you hate to see it.
Yeah, but hey, it's the reality, right? Like it is what it is. Like Chris Sturba in the chat says Dennis still worse than him. Yes. he is by far the best linebacker on. He's still a good linebacker. It's just he's not. That's what we're saying is he's just not what he is 5 years ago, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But like it's fair to point out, and like it's also fair to point out like he's got to be better next week, right? Because if he has Jalen Hurts dead to rights next week and doesn't bring him down, well, I don't think that's going to work out very well for the Bucs defense.
No, I agree. Outside of that, again, just kind of putting a lid here on the defensive performance for Tampa Bay. I think that they made, really so far this season, they have made a lot of these stops that are going to go overlooked because of one reason or another. But, these fourth down stops, these goal line stops. Today, the big-time stop with Antoine Winfield Jr., the strip sack, and then the pick six from Jamel Dean. I mean,
right before the half, too. I mean,
yeah.
Man, we don't talk about perfect timing. You get the ball to start the second half, man. Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. And on top of that, I think we mentioned it already, but the Antoine Winfield Jr., they were able to turn that into points. It was only 3 points, but it was still a field goal. You still turn that into points, and that's something that this Buccaneers defense has been sorely lacking. So to see it fully come together today, I think is a satisfying feeling as well, and hopefully something the Bucs can continue to carry here in the weeks ahead. We will dive a little bit more into what went wrong as the week goes on. You'll get a chance to watch the game again, see who stuck out on tape for better or for worse. I think when we look at this defensive line now missing Kalijah Cansey, that interior defensive line is something a lot of people were going to be taking a look at today. I think we saw a lot more Greg Gaines. We saw a lot more Logan Hall. Didn't see as much Elijah Roberts as I would have liked to.
Logan Hall did leave with an injury. I'm not sure if he came back, but he did leave hurt.
He also left with a horse collar tackle, and it was a 15-yard penalty.
I don't think it's a horse collar. I don't agree with it. To me, it wasn't clearly like hand in the back, pulls him down. Ticky-tack for me.
Yeah. I will say, to go back to my point about how, I'm a little bit higher on this win than most, I think that this is a good win. I think that all three of these are good wins for this Buccaneers coaching staff. I think that that's going to get lost in the excitement of like Emeka Egbuka and then the injury news and Baker Mayfield playing like an MVP. I think all of that aside, when you look at Josh Grizzard especially, the hand that he has been dealt with injuries and the mix-up in his linemen here, I think it's very, very tough. I think it has been a very tough path to 3-0 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And kind of like Corey had talked about, I think that wins like this are going to build that mental fortitude, the ability to be unflappable in big-time moments, to know that you have to come from behind and you have to answer with a touchdown in the final minute of the game. I feel better about this team's chance to do that than I maybe ever have with Todd Bowles as head coach. And I think that is very clear progress for not only Bowles, but the rest of this coaching staff with as shorthanded as they are.
Yeah, I mean, look, we look at, we talk about this, since the Bucs have been good the last 5 years, really. We talk about finding ways to win, right? And for the longest time, it was the Bucs finding ways to lose. And that almost happened today, right? There was almost a brand new way to lose. You had this lead, and okay, all of a sudden, all right, you make the field goal, you go up 2 scores. But literally, the worst possible scenario that
Right.
could have
It's
happened
not.
did happen. Not him miss it, and then the defense has to, stop him or whatever. The worst possible scenario that could have happened did happen, and you end up literally, down one, right? So that could have, the Bucs from 2000, 16 2017 lose that game, right? Like that game's over. And I think you're starting to see they're finding different ways to win. They have literally won in the final seconds of each game so far this season in a completely different way. Younghoe Koo, yes, it's some luck. Younghoe Koo misses the field goal, right? Okay, it would have been tied. He misses the field goal to tie the game. Bucs win. Rachaad White, touchdown against one of the top defenses in the NFL on the road. You get a nice 80-yard drive, touchdown. And then Chase McLaughlin, you drive down the field, Chase McLaughlin nails a game-winning field goal. So, again, it's 3 completely different ways. And is that sustainable? Probably not. Like, to be honest with you, like, you don't want to get into that business, right? Of like, oh, it's a coin flip in the final minute. Like, no, because a lot of them are not going to go your way a lot of times, right? So that's why, like, when people pick like teams that will like regress, like the Vikings a couple years ago were like 13-4 or something, but their record in 1-score games was like 9-2. Like it's too much of a coin flip, like there's too many things that can go wrong or right. And so yeah, you don't want to get into the business of every game coming down to the wire. Like, let's have a laugher in here, right? Every now and then. Let's have one by 9 points. Chase McLaughlin just, nobody gets blocked, right? Just he makes the field goal and the Bucs are up 29-20. Why couldn't we just do that? But so yeah, it's not sustainable. It's for a full 17-game season. But right now they're finding ways to win, and that's all that really matters at the end of the day. So
Yeah, these are wins that build confidence at the end of the day because wins are hard to come by in the NFL. And to be 3-0, I think the history of 3-0 teams show that the stats should be in your favor as far as
yes.
playoff runs and
Yeah.
things of that
Also,
nature.
really quick, G Vegas makes a good point. Chase got his confidence back because the block wasn't his fault, but it could have messed him up.
Yeah.
That is true. Chase McLaughlin gets the kick blocked, comes back though the very next drive, literally, I don't know, probably like in real time, probably 5 minutes later, maybe 10 minutes at most, and goes back and nails the game-winning field goal. Like, that definitely could have been something where you're thinking, like, oh, man, I really don't want this to get blocked again. Like, that could have been something where you were thinking about that. So, yeah, pretty, good sign of mental toughness from him as well.
Here's that long-awaited audio from Bucs head coach Todd Bowles on the blocked field goal, 50-yard return for a touchdown. Stand by 1 second. Hold on. I got this here. I can do this in better fashion. All right, this should work now. Here is Todd Bowles at the podium.
My thoughts were going from where we run for a touchdown. Excuse my language, like you gotta fucking be shit. And after that, see how much time on the clock.
Oh, man. I mean, you want to talk about a coach of the people, someone who is able to speak the mind of pretty much the entire fan base. When I saw Will McDonald jump over the offensive line.
That's an unbelievable play.
I mean, my initial thought was he can't do that anymore. He's not allowed to do that anymore. They
didn't touch anybody.
That is
if literally a shoelace, if he does that and a shoelace touches a player, it's a penalty.
Yeah.
You have to completely clear it. And yeah, crazy. So it's such an athletic play. That he blocks, he jumps, blocks it, and he returns it.
Yeah. And was shedding guys off of him. Like, let's not forget that he picks the ball up, and it wasn't in the cleanest fashion. He's able to take it all the way to the end zone. But luckily, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers emerge victorious. Another cardiac finish, if you will, but the Buccaneers are 3-0 for the first time since 2005. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's going to do it for today's post-game episode of the Cannon Fire Podcast. I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us in the YouTube live chat, everybody who donated to the Wendy's Fund, all of our super chatters today. We greatly appreciate you guys and your support. Thank you to our callers. Thank you to BJ. Thank you to Corey. Thank you to Richard T. from the West Coast. And thank you to Michael and BK. Excuse me.
Everybody calling it. Corey with a great call in.
Yeah. BK and Corey, great call-ins. We appreciate you guys as always. And thank you for hanging out with us. Willie Beam and G Vegas, the moderators, holding it down as always in the YouTube chat. It's good to see everybody. We are rolling into the NFL season. The Buccaneers 3-0, looking ahead to Week 4, and the Philadelphia Eagles. This is certainly no tall task, Evan, and or no small task. I guess is what I should say.
Very tall task.
Yeah, it is a very tall task. And for the Buccaneers, I think the one thing that everyone's going to be monitoring this week, and the one thing that will probably swing the favors for Tampa Bay, is the presence of left tackle Tristan Wirfs. Because at the end of the day, if you get Tristan Wirfs back for this Philly game, you talk about Graham Barton moving back to center and Ben Bredesen moving back to left guard. You get some sort of normalcy at the offensive line position, which is, I mean, something that we are all just pleading for at this point.
Yeah, no, that's definitely getting one player back is basically, two other dominoes fall, right? So hopefully he's able to come back. We'll have to keep an eye on it. Right? We'll probably maybe have more of an idea the next time we talk to you guys. Maybe not. I don't know. They don't practice till Wednesday. So by the game preview, though, we'll certainly know.
Follow the show on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All of those are Cannon Fire Podcast. Best place to go for updates on the show. And, of course, Buccaneer news as it happens. You can follow my co-host Evan on Instagram at Bucs_Daily. You can also find him on Twitter at EvanNFL. And check out his written work at BucsNation.com. What have you got this week?
Yeah, have reactions on social media, which, look, there could be certainly a lot of them. Certainly will be a lot, a game like this with a lot of stuff to unpack. So stay tuned for that on BucsNation.com. And we got, it's not just me, it's all the other great writers there. On the Cannon Fire Podcast YouTube channel, if you're listening on audio, we appreciate you listening on audio, but we have our weekly stuff, Betting the Bucs, which went, I believe, 3-1 this week. The only one we missed, I think, the Baker Mayfield. I think I did over 1.5 touchdowns again. But Mike Evans finally caught his touchdown, so the anytime touchdown thing for Mike Evans is over for that at least. But yeah, gonna have players to watch coming up, but also for this game, recapping it, gonna have the best and worst from the Buccaneers victory here. So yeah, stay tuned for that, and we will be talking to you guys here soon.
Last but not least, you can find myself, Instagram and Twitter at Redicus, RHETT, If you follow me, I will follow you back. And check out the Rondé Barber Show. Going to be recording an episode on Wednesday this week. Rondé was up in the booth with the Fox team, a little reunion with Kenny Albert up there and Jonathan Vilma. That was cool to see. Excited to hear his thoughts on the Buccaneers 50-season celebration and the game, plus much more. So be on the lookout for that. I'm your host, Rhett Matthew, signing off from my co-host, Evan Wanish. We will see you in the next one. Until then, and as always, thank you for listening. And as always, go Bucs.